Hi everyone, my name is Gail Crystalite Warrior and I'm the director of the Institute of Shamanic Medicine. And what I wanted to talk about today is the idea of what is shamanism. What is shamanism within its origins, what is shamanism today, and even looking into the future of what shamanism will bring to human beings in the future. The concept of shamanism is old, tens of thousands of years old. And it's an understanding of spirit, it's an understanding and an alignment with walking on this earth, and the idea that everything is alive and that everything has consciousness, and that all things are always working together to have balance and harmony. The shamans of old, what their journey was to actually understand spirit and to hear the messages of spirit and to hear the messages of the earth and of the sky and of the ancient ones that have gone before them. And what's so important about that the lineage was always being passed on generation to generation, so that the old knowledge wasn't lost, but also that what was being learned in the today was added to that knowledge base. And that's why it became so important to have a way to pass lineage on to the future generations. So shamanism is about being in balance within all things around us, to not have disharmony rather than seeing disharmony as something that happens before harmonic resonance happens. It was for the shaman to understand the relationship with the mineral world and how they could use the mineral world for themselves and for the people that they served. And then there's the plant world and all the different medicines and gifts and foods and spiritual knowledge that the plant world gives. And then it was an innate understanding of the animal world, not only from the idea of totem animals or power animals, but also from the concept of how to honor an animal that was taken in the hunt, how to let an animal know that their giveaway was needed. And then we come to the human world. And ultimately, how could humans not only live in balance, how could they live in harmony, and how could they live in health? And how could they, from place to place and moment to moment, be able to find what they needed to sustain their tribe and to sustain the future generations? In a way, it was a very pragmatic approach. There was a ceremonial process, there were rituals, there was rites of passage, there was the passing of time and the honoring of the ancestors. So in a way, that's where the knowledge of the medicine wheel came from, honoring all the time frames of being human. And also knowing, as we look into the sky, and we see the circularness of life, knowing that we were connected to something greater. And how do we understand that something greater? How do we expand beyond the physicality of our world to make our own connection? When we think of our world today, a lot of our world is focused on what we can have, what we can do with what we have, and then what we can gain in the future. And what shamanism provides is, instead of the totality of the outer journey, what it provides is the journey within ourselves, the understanding of who we are, that ability to take off all our masks, find our authenticity, find out what we came here to do and what we came here to dream awake in this lifetime. Ultimately, to find our medicine, And our medicine isn't about our own movement of doing and of gaining things, but you could say it's our giveaway to self, life, and others. So much of our outer world has been explored, but to actually explore our own nature, explore our own connection with spirit, and then to understand our earth walk from that perspective is something that's highly sought after. I just want you to imagine for a minute that you could walk outside right now and have a conversation with spirit, and have a conversation with the trees, and have a conversation with your totem animal, and to feel that interconnection with all things. That in doing so, you get that sense of what it feels like to be spirit guided. To master that work, you could say that's where the healing process and where the healing work resides. The opening of our heart, the quieting of our mind, the increasing the aliveness in our physical body, the journey of discovering our dreamer or the totality of our spirit self, the knowing of what our life journey is, and then that ability to boost and catalyze those dreams with our life force energy. Often, we had a glimpse of this when we were very young. The shamans call it a vision. And sometimes we have that vision that kind of sits in the back of our head, kind of sits in the back of the edge of our consciousness and of our dreaming. And we continue to reach for it, and we get a little bit afraid. And maybe we push it back a little bit, and then in a few years it comes forward again. But in a way, everyone has a medicine, everyone has a journey, and everyone has a medicine giveaway, whether or not they study the shamanic way. And here's a question. Can you go outside, be in nature, and hear her communication? Can you hear how she communicates the trees to the animals, the trees to the sky, to the wind spirits? All of this is an interconnected energy. So when we quiet ourselves on the inside, when we open ourselves on the inside, when we sit in the center of our universe, when we allow our dreamer to come to the forefront of who we are, then we become spirit guided. And can we do what we call in shamanism the bidding of our dreamer? What's important about the bidding of our dreamer is to actually do what our dream body, our luminous field, everything we have been across lifetimes. Can we walk the pathway and the journey that we're meant to walk? It's not about walking it perfectly, but it's about knowing and feeling that every step that we are taking is what we dreamt before we came here in this lifetime. Sometimes that journey is scary because we ask so much of ourselves. We ask ourselves to stretch beyond our comfort zone, that we heal ourselves so we can actually walk our journey out without being afraid of what others might think of us, about the opinions that others might have of us. To walk our medicine out means we give up all concept of whether a human being is going to love or like us. When we walk our medicine out, we don't worry about what we look like. We worry about what our heart giveaway is to others. The journey is incredibly fulfilling. And it's also equally scary, because sometimes we'll meet things about ourselves that we have to give up. Sometimes we don't want to give up our opinions or our philosophies or our ego mind. And sometimes we don't want to let go of the past so completely that we actually don't know ourselves the same within this lifetime. That's the inner journey, that's the inner possibility of what we can walk. When we get to a certain place on that journey, when we have healed enough of what stops us from being of service to self, life, and others, and we start walking that path of being spirit guided, in a way we'll never turn away from our journey. Or we might take a left turn or a right turn once in a while, but we will continue to move forward in being of service. The inner world, you could say, is almost the last world there is to explore. And then there's the question, do we want to master the inner world so we can gain mastery of the outer world? When we bring spirit into substance, that would be called natural mastery. It's interesting, if we try to only master the physical without the spiritual, we may end up at the end of a lifetime wondering what this incarnation was all about. One of the most important things about human beings is that they want to feel fulfilled in their life. They want to feel as if they have made a difference to someone, to something, that maybe they've left a legacy, they've left a gift for others. And that's what the journey of what shamanism has to offer.